Harman Smith, welcome back to the show, and I noticed that you're back in the basement here. Um, that's cool. Just really not giving a fuck with the uh, sleep pants and your t-shirt there. Clearly, just got done with a nice Fortnite sesh. Cool, cool. Love it, love it. But apparently he's mad that Axiom's End, which, for those who don't know, is Lindsay Ellis's book that just came out here a week or two ago. It's on the New York Times bestseller list. Last time I looked, it was number 7. Let me see. Um, I don't know how to check that kind of thing. I guess I can just look for the bestseller list and see. Oh, it's not in the top 5. Let's see. Does this have a search? Yeah, number 7. So, I mean, hey, it's kind of expected. She's a pretty big deal in the online space, and she's been making a big deal about it on Twitter for like the last year.
Wow, congrats.
So let's see what Harman has to say about this, Mr. Smith. Take it away.
Wow, congratulations to Lindsay Ellis for getting on the New York Times bestsellers list. You have sucked all the right dicks. Congratulations. I thought I would talk a little bit about.
Oh, how'd I know that was going to happen? So, brief history of Lindsay Ellis for those who don't know somehow. Lindsay Ellis got her start on what is now called Channel Awesome. At the time, it was that guy with the glasses. Most famous for the Nostalgia Critic. She was selected to be the Nostalgia Chick, someone who could do reviews of more feminine properties that people might be nostalgic for, that Doug Walker, the Nostalgia Critic, either didn't want to or was uncomfortable doing, or didn't want to be accused of being gay for having liked. And she did that for a number of years, and then she stopped doing that because Doug Walker and his brother and the other people involved with the Nostalgia Critic are apparently all awful people. Look up the Change the Channel controversy if you want a little bit more information. But one thing that's come out of that came out of that was that allegedly Lindsay Ellis was the communal bicycle of the group. Now, again, this is allegations. I don't know. They're such cool. I suppose it's easier to hate women from the comfort of your mom's age. True, Dodge. Yeah. Yeah. So that and the fact that she's been fairly sex positive throughout her career has led most people to assume that she's just this big old slut. Now, I don't know. I don't care if she likes sex. I'm sure she does if she's had good sex. But that doesn't mean that... First of all, the idea that even someone with... I think she's got about 1 million subs. Let's find out. Also, you should watch. Yeah, 990k subs. So she's at just under 1 million subs. Even assuming that a 1 million sub YouTuber would be able to suck enough dicks to get number 7 on the bestseller list is kind of ridiculous. There's a reason why the New York Times bestseller list is the market is. That's because it's usually pretty legit. So yeah, let's see how he justifies this.
This how this process actually works, because I think a lot of people don't really understand how biased these lists actually are. I have here an
Oh, how biased they are towards good literature that's factual, or at least not reinforcing a negative stereotype or what have you.
article from entrepreneur.com. I think I posted this in the comment section. I can't find it here, but in my original video. But why every bestseller list is always a lie. Simply put, every bestseller list is a lie because no bestseller list measures the best-selling books. Let me repeat that so you can grasp the gravity of what it means. No bestseller list measures the actual best-selling books. Every single bestseller list either measures a limited number of sales in a few places, or far worse, it's a curated list and a small group of people are deciding what to put on their list. And they're picking books based on what they think are important books, not based on what is actually selling. This is why you can see like books that sell like 10 million copies not get on the New York Times best-selling list and bestsellers list, and also see Lindsay Ellis, and somehow see Lindsay Ellis's garbage Transformers fanficky sci-fi novel on there. It's
Okay, it's really bothering me that his audio is desynced somehow. But also, do you really think that the people at the New York Times bestsellers, even if it is entirely curated, and there's a lot of these lists that are not just in book bestsellers, but there's a lot of lists that are based on their performance in certain areas where they may perform better or differently in other areas. But that's just the nature of the beast, unfortunately. And especially in this day and age, I think it's pretty safe to say that you would that they can correct if there's some massive oversight. Like if a book sells nothing in New York but sells well in Texas, if there's a reason for that, I'm sure that they would modify the list. That being said, the idea that the people at the New York Times bestseller list are such huge fans of the nostalgia chick that they would tip the scales to put her on the list, but then just only put her at number 7? You need some data or actual evidence. You can't just cite entrepreneur.com to say that this list is illegitimate. Sorry.
It's because of the bias. It's because she knows people there who are putting her on the list, or her publisher are doing the legwork for her to make that happen. Essentially, these lists are.
I'll acknowledge that I'm sure there are methods of buying your way onto the bestseller list, but that doesn't mean that the list is totally illegitimate. Like you can often tell when a book is bought its way or chosen to be on the bestseller list, and that's because it's some controversial book by a popular figure. But also, it's possible that that popular figure has enough people who want to buy their book that they legitimately get on there. So I take that back. It's not so easy to tell. It can be hard to see at a glance. But anyone who's watched Lindsay Ellis would understand that she's not the kind of person who would, at least from what I've observed of her, she's not the kind of person who would go to her contacts and be like, hey, I really need to get on the bestseller list. Do this. That's just fucking stupid.
Fake, essentially. Like they're essentially just a marketing tool for specific creators to sort of put themselves out there. It's more of a status symbol than I would say than
Every single right-wing whack job who's been in our government, who's written a book, has been on the bestseller list. So that disproves your fucking point right there. The New York Times bestseller list, while as Magnell says that there are certainly legitimate criticisms that can be levied against it, doesn't appear to have a significant bias as far as what they allow. They allow right-wing whack jobs and left-wing whack jobs on there if they fulfill the criteria.
How then an actual evaluation of how well books are selling, like, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just one of those things that sort of appeals to people like Lindsay who are desperate for some kind of validation.
Yeah, I know, Dodge. And I get it. I wonder what to do with my hands sometimes. You may hear me messing with stuff on my desk here, but I make sure not to mess with my microphone because I want to make this as pleasant a listening experience for you, my wonderful viewers, as I can. Every time he rubs against it, every time he fiddles with it, and that's ignoring the fact that he's so far from it that he had to open up the noise gate so it picks up all this background noise. Jesus Christ, have some professional dignity. Have some pride in your work. If you're going to appear on camera, at least make it look like you've been up for more than an hour.
For what they're doing with their time and energy. I don't think, looking at her interviews or YouTube videos or her comments, like, it doesn't feel like, to me, that she really cares about the book itself at all. It feels like, to me, that she's more interested in, like, the status and the fame.
What? Okay. She has, whether she was totally serious or not, I get the feeling it was about 60-40 serious. She has been terrified of this book for the last, 6 months. At least the last 3 or 4 months since she finished with it and sent it off for the final printing. This is her being, according to her own statements, essentially her being her most honest self in her production. Because it's a fucking, for all intents and purposes, a Transformers fanfiction. He's not wrong about that. It is a Transformers fanfiction. So, yeah. That's cool. What gives you the idea she doesn't... This is what really bothers me about Harman, is he'll just get in front of a mic and just spout whatever inane bullshit comes to his mind about the subject without checking to see if it's true or not, without seeing if there's something that blatantly contradicts what he's saying. Jesus Christ. There's nothing wrong with fanfiction, Magmill. My point is that if she cared more about the fame and clout that she would get from publishing a book, I don't think she would have made a Transformers fanfiction. I think she would have done something more in the either the schmaltzy romance drama genre, or something in the Hunger Games, Harry Potter, young adult against the world, only one who can save it genre. But instead she did, from what I remember her description of it, it's kind of a period piece adventure fic. Twilight was on there 3 times.
And this idea that she's made it in society, and I don't think
I don't think even she thinks she's made it in society because she's got a New York Times bestseller list. That's not going to get her invited to any parties that her million sub YouTube channel wouldn't, or that her connections to writers and journalists wouldn't already. That's absurd.
that's the way you should go. I think you need to be more passionate about what you're creating, what you're making, what you're dealing with. That's probably one of the more one of the reasons I kind of stopped watching her content, or her video content, actually,
Yeah, I'm sure it had nothing to do with the fact that she went more explicitly political and left leaning in her content and much more willing to criticize uh, the patriarchy and white supremacy in her videos, and less to do with the fact that she just stopped appealing to you. She stopped being the kind of bubbly, wasn't this she was always pretty progressive in her analyses of shows. She didn't hesitate to call out sexism or racism or whatever in her shows, but she was much less explicit about it when she was part of the nostalgia critic brand. And once she left that umbrella, she stopped being so inoffensive. But I highly doubt that he stopped watching her because she stopped having passion about her work. I think there were other reasons.
It feels like she's not really talking about things she wants to talk about. I don't know. That's it's been years since I've seriously watched her content in any meaningful capacity, so I can't really remember off the top of my head. But personally,
She's been able to talk about stuff she's wanted to for the last like 5 years. You're just wrong there, Harman. She's talked about whatever she wants. That's the joy of having a 900,000 subscriber YouTube channel, is that you can pretty much talk about whatever you want, as long as that's what you've built that channel on.
personally,
I mean,
I
let's take a gander here. Shouldn't even need to type anything. Or I will. So let's look at our last few videos. Just here recently. So this is about her book coming out 2 weeks ago. I haven't actually watched it. I'm not super interested in her book. Um, Mostly because who fucking reads anymore? This is her literally just doing a Harman Smith, except much higher quality, plopping down in front of her webcam with her mic and talking about J.K. Rowling and death of the author. Because she did a video, pretty big video, a few years ago about death of the author. I guess it was just a year ago, right here. And then she talked about how Titanic and if it's good or not, and she clearly cared about this video. Protest music of the Bush era. We watched this one on stream. She clearly was interested in this. I haven't watched this. Was literally her exercising her demons about the Cats movie and something she wanted to talk about. This is about a character from Phantom of the Opera, which, if you don't know Lindsay Ellis, she is obsessed with Phantom of the Opera. But no, she's just talking about what gets her clout, not what she's interested in. You got it, Harman.
I don't think it's very good content for these kind of reasons. For a lot of the same reasons that Axiom's End was.
You clearly haven't consumed her content, so you have no idea what her content is about, so you're completely talking bullshit right here.
Not a good book. I keep wanting to call it Axiom's Verge after that really terrible Metroid-like indie game that came out on Wii U. It just hate that fucking game. But anyway, so is Axiom's End good? No.
How do you know? I guarantee you haven't read it. I guarantee you have not read it. How do you know if it's good or not? Did you read a few reviews of it? Let's see what kind of reviews we can find of it to see what they say. Again, I haven't looked into this much. Axiom's End review. There we go. Let's see what Goodreads has to say. Okay. 4.5 stars. Big fan of Lindsay's channel, but I really wanted this is similar to Hank Green's book. I fucking hated that book so much. Well, this isn't really a review. Okay, these are all... Okay, here we go. Oh, this is fucking useless. Let's see what kind of reviews there are on Amazon. Somehow deeply aware of not just what it is to be human, but okay, that's Hank Green. Not to talk shit about Hank Green, he's gonna give it a positive review no matter what. So much fun. Lindsay Ellis' experience is one of our sharpest cultural observers whose accent has an edge of realism that's both cutting and compelling. Close Encounters have a whole new look. Cool. Eerily plausible and wildly entertaining, an alternate history that fully delivers on its premise. Storytelling is what good science fiction should be. Yeah, these are all positive. I mean, granted, most of these videos, most of the. Why am I in Spanish? What the fuck? How did I go? Is this going to be in Spanish too? Jesus Christ. Okay. Um, it's not perfect. The pacing is a little uneven. Okay. Felt a little abrupt. Yeah. Okay. Great read that's both entertaining and thought provoking. I wouldn't expect her to bang out a perfect book on her first try. So if there's a few errors in it, that's a few flaws, that's something she can work to correct. Cool.
No, is Lindsay Ellis a good?
So my point is, he has no idea that it's a good or bad book, and the handful of reviews I could find with a quick Google search tell me that it's probably a good read. So he's pulling this directly out of his ass and hating on Lindsay Ellis uh, because she's a progressive, left-leaning female content creator who won't sleep with him.
Good creator? No. Did her book sell well? No. Not to the extent in which she is trying to present it as. Certainly.
Proof? How do you know it didn't sell well?
It has very few reviews on Amazon. My review bashing the book didn't get a ton of views. Mostly, I think at this point, it's mostly just a bunch of overzealous fanboys and female.
Look, dude, I was disappointed when I realized I wouldn't be able to fuck Lindsay Ellis too, but I didn't decide to hate everything she ever did because of it. I moved on like a fucking adult.
Fans hoping to coast off of her success as a YouTuber to try and like get more views for their own channel, like their own channels, like trying desperately to make themselves relevant rather than actually being honest and saying that yeah, I didn't read the book, I don't enjoy reading books, I don't know the first thing about reading books. I don't
What is he talking? What?
think that anybody is enjoying Axiom's End on its own merits. Like there,
Dude, you wouldn't have to keep fiddling with that button if you would stop messing with this. Get a fidget spinner. Or like I do, just keep your keys on hand because you can fuck around with them. Jesus Christ.
enjoying it because Lindsay Ellis wrote it. She's the nostalgia chick, the nostalgia woman, as she likes to present herself as now.
No, she calls herself the nostalgia woman because she always hated the nostalgia chick label. But she wants to clarify the position of those videos and keep them up because they were good work and there was some useful information there. There's no reason for it to die the anonymous death of the channels they were on. But your disdain for her rebranding them as the nostalgia woman is fucking hilarious. True, Magmill, yes.
Prevent people from pointing out her humble roots on channelawesome.com, and as a female copy of the Nostalgia Critic,
She doesn't try to hide that. In fact, she doesn't trumpet it or try to uh, make a big deal about it, but she doesn't hide it or conceal it. I mean, from a certain point of view, she owes a lot to the Nostalgia Critic because it put her face and her style of commentary in front of millions of people and allowed her to become the media personality she is today. She wouldn't be Lindsay Ellis if it weren't for Nostalgia Chick. I'm sure she has no problem admitting that, but that doesn't mean she has to like Nostalgia Chick or like the Nostalgia Critic or like the content she made then.
To be fair, like Lindsay was always better than Doug. As a critic, I will always adamantly defend her on that point. Again,
A Speak and Spell is a better critic than Doug Walker.
I'm a fan of her classic content. Her classic pre woke content. Yeah.
Called it.
So I think that's all I wanted to say about that. Overall, yeah. I'm not sure where Lindsay's career is going to go from here. Like, I know people have been like,
all right, yeah, we're done here. This guy's a fucking idiot. This is one of his worst videos yet. Where's her career going from here? Wherever the fuck she wants it to. It's worth noting that her YouTube career has taken a back burner to her PBS show, the novel she's writing, which is apparently is part of a series. And I think she's involved in a couple other things she's talked about on Twitter and whatnot. So, I think she's involved in a podcast. So yeah, she's got plenty of options. Her career is going to go plenty of places she wants it to. And I'm sorry that you're jealous about that, Harman. Hey, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show. Remember to like, share, and leave a comment because it helps me. Subscribe and ring that bell to help you. Thanks, and we'll see you next time.